Hey guys, Joe here, hitting you with a Brucie Bonus, or as me and Carl have lovingly referred to this as, a rainy day special. That's right. You thought, hey, there's probably no fights this week. Or, I guess Joe just forgot to watch the fights. Or, you Joe's stuck working or something. Whatever this may be. I don't know when you're going to be seeing this video. I don't know when you're going to be watching it. But this is just a little bit of something to tide you guys over so you guys don't forget how beautiful this man is, how handsome he is, and how intellectually superior he is than 95% of MMA YouTubers out there. There's a lot of MMA YouTubers out there. I'd say I'd watch 5%. So those guys are smarter than me, the guys I've watched. Anyways, all jokes aside, it's kind of a fun idea. I just wanted to talk about just something for fun, kind of see what your guys' opinions are. And the topic I have today is MMA narratives. I despise. These are narratives that the public perception is kind of on this, and I don't like it. You know, because these are, we'll see. You'll understand as we kind of go along. First one is, this is a really quick and easy one. Little guys, little divisions, 155 and below, or even 145 and below, doesn't matter. Don't finish fights. And that, they don't finish fights, so they're not fun, bro. I hate it. This is more of a casual narrative, I will admit, but I hate this. I hate this in particular. So, what is the biggest rivalry in recent memory, I will say, that the lower weight classes have had? I think there's two choices. One of them is like Volkanovski, Holloway, but I think that, and those go to decision. All three of those go to decision, but I think there's one more that may not be talked about as much, but I think because it was 4 fights, you gotta talk about it, and it's at a lower division, lower weight class, was flyweights, Brandon Moreno, Davis, and Figueiredo, which, biased potentially, because I'm a big Brandon Moreno fan. Always love seeing a Mexican-born fighter get some love. Him and Alexa Grasso. Viva la raza, So, being half Mexican myself and identifying basically as Mexican. I always forget that I'm not full Mexican half the time. Usually looking in the mirror. It kind of reminds me. Anyways, jokes on me aside. So, little guys can't finish fights. Davis and Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno, 4 fights, 2 decisions in that fight. 2 finishes. 50% clip. You know what I mean? Think about that. It's a 50% clip. That might not be enough for, like, you might look at, like, oh, well, what about, Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture's all finishes? Sure. Sure. How many John Jones decisions have you sat through? A good amount. George St. Pierre, the greatest fighter of all time. A lot of decisions. Being a finisher or a decision guy doesn't take away from greatness. Don't get me wrong. But the finishing does nothing but just kind of a fun little bonus. The idea that little guys can't finish fights is ridiculous. Like, Mighty Mouse was always a victim of this, even though he finished a good amount of his fights as well. He TKO'd Henry Cejudo. He knocked out Joseph Benavidez, the first guy to KO him, first guy to finish him. He had the Ray Borg German suplex mid-air going for an armbar, which should be a move in WWE. I'm a big wrestling fan too. Why has no one stolen that move? It makes perfect sense to me. Dude, Chad Gable, let him do that. Anyways, I don't want to talk about wrestling here. We're talking about little guys. Little guys can totally finish fights. Don't like the guy. Sean O'Malley's a finisher, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's a finisher, though. Come on. Corey Sandhagen has some great finishes in his career. Aldo, in WEC, he was a finisher. It's funny, in UFC, I don't know what it was, but he wasn't quite the finisher. That said, he might be. This isn't the topic of today, just a quick little bonus. Maybe I'll talk about it one day. I think Jose Aldo might be tied with GSP in the GOAT list for me, after really thinking about it. Like, something kind of popped in my head, like a mental argument. But I'm thinking about it. I haven't quite. Maybe I'll talk about it one day. But that's a narrative I despise. Here's another one. McGregor, at one point, you can pick the point, was the best MMA boxer at some point, right? Hate this argument. I'm okay with you saying at one point he was the best MMA striker. I got no problem with you saying that. I'm going to disagree, but I got zero problem with you saying that. You know, I'm not a McGregor fan. I'm going to leave my bias out of this, though. Like, this isn't me just being a hater, you know, because I am a hater, but this isn't me being a hater. This is me just saying, like, McGregor's best thing he had, I thought, going for him, was his straight kicks. I thought his straight kicks, the straight kicks got him a title, by the way. Like, he would have lost to Chad Mendes, probably, if he wasn't launching teep kicks up the gut. Like, he was and I like that kick a lot in real life. Like, I practice that kick a lot, too. I practice teeps a lot. So, I got love for the teep. I don't like McGregor, but I got love for his teep. His teep was super good. Like, he was, like, came out, like, almost in a karate. Like, everyone jokes, like, karate stance McGregor. Like, yeah, he kind of had, like, a karate stance, chin up, like, wanting to lure guys in with the left hand. I don't like the narrative that at one point he was the best, you know, boxer ever. He never really was. He got a boxing match, sure, but he wasn't really like, and he had a boxing experience before that, I think. It was all amateurs, I think. But it's like, I look at it this way. No one called Machida the best boxer in his division, you know? Like, that's kind of like the same vibe. Machida wasn't head kicking guys, you know? He was blasting guys with punches, counter punches. You know, that's kind of the vibe. You know, just having heavy hands doesn't make you the best boxer. He might have had the heaviest hands ever at that division. But yeah, I don't know about that one. I mean, Chad Mendes might have the heaviest hands of all time in that division, but he was throwing with, like, you know, 10,000% power combined with Napoleon Complex energy going in. Trust me, I got Napoleon Complex energy. I'm same high. I think I'm slightly taller than him, actually. I'm 5'5", 5'6" on a good day. So it might be, I don't know his height. I think he's like 5'4", so I think I'm definitely taller than him. Chad Mendes, you're taking everything I work for. Anyways, last thing I have, because it's going to take the longest amount of time. This one I despise. I've heard analysts and commentators I love and or respect say this. Anderson Silva only lost to Chris Weidman because he taunted. I hate that this is the narrative, because it does two things. It demeans Chris Weidman's win, and it's kind of like an excuse, you know, for Anderson. Because at that point, I could understand people being like, oh, the second fight, you know, if it wasn't for the leg. Anderson was losing that fight pretty cleanly. That said, I've seen comebacks that are crazier. If his leg didn't break, you know, he was fine after that kick, like 100% fine. It's possible in that alternate reality that he wins that fight, maybe. I've seen crazier things happen. I've seen crazier Anderson Silva comes back. I've seen crazy Anderson Silva comebacks. Him losing to Weidman because of a fluke or a taunt, his cockiness got him there. It's completely outrageous. I think. And I understand if you're not the most technical guy in the world, or like, because I'm a really technical guy when I watch fights. You know, I'm not tooting my own horn here. Trained martial arts. I always wanted to watch fights as an excuse to, like, avoid watching, like, instructionals, reading instructionals, and, like, in technique and everything like that. Because watching a fight's way more fun, you know? I like watching, like, Boss Rutan talk about, like, you know, how to throw knees and kicks. Why don't I just watch him throw knees and kicks? It's like when I play fighting games, I'd rather not watch a guide, like a guy talk about, like, here's how to play Aki in Street Fighter 6. I'd rather just watch top players play. Is it a good way to learn? No, not at all. But it's fun for me, you know, and that's what fighting and fighting games are to me. They're fun. So I became like a really technical guy when it comes to what I look for in fights. I'm not saying I'm like a Jack Slack level, who was an inspiration for that too, but I look for things and I see things. And I'm quoting Jack Slack's Killing the King. He did on Anderson Silva. He talked about things Anderson hated. He hated when people double up on one side against him because his head movement is, I'm going to dodge the left, I'm going to dodge the right, I'm going to dodge the left, dodge the right. And if you go, I'm going to throw, I'm dodging a left, I'm dodging another left. Here comes the right, and I'm way out of position to get to here. Like, you know what I mean? It's just something. And that's something Anderson hated. And that's the finishing sequence. To a T. The finishing sequence. And Anderson taunts. Not when he's dominating a guy. Well, he does sometimes, actually. That's kind of fair. He taunts mostly, though, if he's frustrated. If he's not great at leading the dance. He wants you to come at him. So he'll taunt and be like, oh, come on. Come on. Here, take a shot at me. Oh, you're going to throw a 1-2-1-2? He wants to do that. And because, and like, he doesn't want you diving on his legs. He wants you to throw that 1-2-1-2. And so we can counter it. Weidman, not giving him an inch. Not giving him because if you give Anderson an inch, he's taking a mile and your chin. That's how it is. And Weidman's not doing that. He's throwing non-committal jabs. Punching his chest. Not reaching to throw their shots at his chin. Because his head can move everywhere. His chest can only go somewhere. Can't move like his head can. Punching him in the chest. Making him mad. Making him lead. Making Anderson incredibly upset. Anderson starts taunting. Weidman forces the taunt. And then he goes, I'll just dodge your shots. And then here comes the double up. And the left hook to put it away. He didn't lose because he taunted. Like, he was losing the fight before that. Like, he was losing the fight clean before that either, as well. And again, like the second fight, crazier things have happened. We've seen crazier things from Anderson Silva. But just because you lose a round doesn't mean you're losing the whole fight. But that KO came because Weidman and Ray Longo and Matt Serra, his whole camp, knew exactly what to do. And the narrative is that Weidman, yeah, he took a round, but like, he only got the KO because Anderson taunted. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid if you believe that. I'm not picking fights here. I ain't picking arguments. I ain't picking fights here. I'm just stating things, my opinion, my things I dislike. Narratives. That's just me. I think that's kind of fun. I think this was a kind of a fun thing. Obviously, I'll have more in the future. I've kind of talked for a good amount of time. And just for like a little bonus, essentially. Think you get some stuff you guys might like. My twang came out a little bit, so I just leaned into it. But that's it for me. I don't know when you guys are going to watch this. I don't know when, but hopefully you guys enjoy it and get the conversation going. I'll talk about this stuff all day. You know what I mean? Like, I've talked about Carl. Maybe one day me and Carl will open up a Discord to talk about just MMA all day. Just let it rip. So we'll see what's going on, and we'll figure something out. We'll do it in the comments. We love the interaction between you guys. This is something we can all talk about and debate on. Am I crazy for hating these MMA narratives? Am I, that's a good point, Joe. Maybe it's that. Most likely I'm crazy and nuts and psychotic. But, that's it for me, though, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Joe with the INC. Thank you again. You guys are the best.